Hello and welcome to the D3 podcast. This is your host Matt, joined as always by John, Sam, and Kevin. How's it going, boys?
It's going.
Oh, we're vibing. Nick's on a hot streak right now.
For now. We'll see how far they fall. We ready for some buy or sell? That's what we got today.
I don't have any money. Is that okay? Or
We'll see. We'll find out. Maybe the Knicks have some money for you to
I got some Doge. Don't worry. You're good.
Oh, you're good. Let's start out with number one, boys. The Knicks are a serious playoffs finals threat. Sam, I'll let you go with this one first.
I think we know that the latter. We know that's not true. I think we know it's one of the top three teams in the East. So we'll sell on that. But I think we're buying on this. We can tell that the after the three teams, it's pretty up in the air. It doesn't really matter realistically. But I could see the Knicks actually moving to the first round, moving past the first round, whoever they play, because it doesn't matter who they are. Knicks on the hit list, Hornets, Hawks, doesn't matter who it is. The Knicks are a really unpredictable team. I think that's why they're going to win, is that we have no idea what team they'll show up with. They have a bunch of randos, honestly. They have no one like Emmanuel Quickly. Like, this man just showed up for a 10-day and then he got signed. RJ Barrett's up and down. Only person that's really been consistent and actually been balling out like there's no tomorrow, Julius Randle. I mean, you can't really say more about that. It's just that they're just playing really well. The team's working well, and no one's, there's no ego. Maybe that's like the one thing that works about New York, which is odd, is that there's no like actual like identity to the team besides like grit and grind right now. That's all they're doing, grit and grind, and then hopefully move it to the next round. So I'll buy on that for sure.
I'm going to sell on the finals threat. I will buy on the playoffs threat. I do think that if you slip up against this very scrappy Knicks team, they will hand you an L. I can't imagine them being a finals threat just because if your best player is Julius Randle. Look, he's had a fantastic season this year, but he is not the player that you want to carry.
The Knicks will beat the Nets. Okay, I'll tell you
that. John, what do you got?
As with everyone else, I will sell out of the finals. But I actually do think there's a good chance this team will get to the second round, just because, odds are they'll be playing either the Hawks or the Celtics, maybe even the Heat, but most likely like one of those two teams. And I don't trust either of them. And this Knicks team, I think this Knicks team probably has like the most heart in the whole league. They're a bunch of scrappers, and so they're going to play hard as hell. And so I think they have a good shot of getting past there. And then after that, I think they're done. I don't think that they are going to beat. I don't think they'll make like a super deep run, but they definitely have it in them to get out of the first round, just because I don't think anyone else they're matched up against is really that inspiring. And that'll be great because, that could give them a chance to look really good for free agents and potential trade requests for next year. But, yeah, good for Knicks fans. Happy for you. Have fun. You don't get this very often, so enjoy.
I definitely am buying on the playoff threat. Again, also selling on the finals threat, I think. But yeah, I think this team has a lot of surprises in them. I think Randall is obviously impressive, and he's always on it. I think D-Rose is actually underrated on this team. Him coming off the bench has been awesome. He's averaging like almost 15 points a game, and he's just very consistently putting up those numbers. And having that come off the bench is a big boost for your team, especially for a relatively young team like that. Having that kind of experienced guy bring them up is a huge plus. I definitely think they can get to the second round, and I definitely think they have a lot of surprises in them for the playoffs. So I would be scared if I was another team playing the Knicks. They're not someone to just brush off and say, oh, it's just the Knicks this year, like whatever. I think they're better than we've seen them in a while.
Yeah, totally. Give me all the Derrick Rose hype. I'm all for it, man. But also Emmanuel Quickly has been very solid this year, so that's been very fun to watch. Let's go to the next one. Terry Rozier is better than Kemba Walker. I'm going to buy that one. You let me down, Kemba. You let me down, man. And it's killing me.
Danny Ainge over here.
God, it is. Let me tell you, it is very unfortunate to watch past Celtics players who have absolutely no right to be as good as they are right now completely destroy you. So good for you.
I mean, I'm just saying, man, it's very Danny Ainge of you to turn on your point guard as soon as he's getting hurt, as soon as he's a little down.
I don't care. That's cool. I don't mind it. I'll take it. It's whatever. Terry Rozier, good for you. I am buying that. Sam?
Just like they did dirty to a lot of players, they let go Gordon Hayward basically for free with that awesome such a great move when they got Evan Fournier, one of the greatest defensive point guards or shooting guards you ever seen in the league. Who then once got signed had to go into health protocols, so you can tell how that season's going. Surprisingly, the Celtics did get a good push with once again the two guys that they have on the team. At some point, these guys are going to be very unhappy, and I think they have to be very serious within the next couple of years to be the guys, not just another guy, the guys moving in the finals. I don't know, because I think Terry Rozier actually found his happy place with this roster because there's no expectation, and I think that's the thing is that with the Celtics, that there's expectation of winning culture. Danny Ainge, having so many rings, and then you gotta be like us. It can put a lot into someone's mind, and I think that's what we put into Kemba, and I think that's actually going to lead to his downfall, especially with all the injuries he's been having. With that being said, I will buy. I think Terry Rozier found the place, and I think he's going to have actually better longevity than Kemba Walker, sadly. I mean, not sadly, but the grass is greener.
Yeah, you know what? Kemba, I think, has had the better season so far. Obviously, he's a lot older than Terry Rozier, and he was fantastic when he was on the Hornets, when he was the only player that was important on the Hornets. But yeah, Terry Rozier's got it in the bag right now. John?
Yeah, Scary Terry is one of the best clutch, most efficient clutch scorers in the league out of nowhere. Dude's got truly ice in his veins. And he's really efficient this year. He's shooting 46% from the field as a small guard. That's great. 40% from three, taking 8 of them a game, 20 points per game. He's just, I think, like Sam said, he's really found his role, and it's really generally playing more as an off guard, as a shooting guard, especially once LaMelo gets back, give Terry a little less control over the offense. I think would be good for everyone involved, except for late in the game. But yeah, I mean, it's just cool. It's cool to see he's really found that form that he had in that quick playoff run, and he's a really solid player. Good for the Hornets. Their player development team is they're looking really good, and so. Happy for Terry, really sad for Kemba. I do think he's kind of, he might be kind of winding down to being someone who could be the 4th offensive option on your team. It's just unfortunate with all the injuries he's had to deal with. But yeah, gotta take Terry.
Kevin?
Yeah, I think I gotta buy on this too, and I think it's crazy because I think if you had said this a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, this would have been laughable, and at least in my mind. And now it's totally reasonable. I remember watching Terry Rozier a couple of years ago when the Celtics had the playoff run, and he just came out of nowhere kind of, and he was super clutch. So it's kind of nice to see him now thriving on this Hornets team, but at the same time I feel so bad for Kemba, who had the exact opposite story kind of, where he went to the Celtics team and now he's abysmal. He's the 4th or 5th option on that team, if not more, and I it's sad to see because he was such a good player when he was on the Hornets, when he was the only option basically, but I don't know. It's kind of sad, but props to Scary Terry stepping up and maturing as a player a little bit. Yeah.
Terry. Next we have the Timberwolves would be a play-in team if Anthony Edwards was a starter in the first half of the season and Cat and D'Lo were healthy all year. I don't think this really has much to do with Anthony Edwards as much as it does for Cat. I also think D'Lo I'm not really a huge fan of him personally. I don't think he's really that great. When he was on the Nets, he had a fantastic run, and as soon as he left the Nets, it was just all downhill. I think it's more of just like Cat not being healthy for a majority of the year that's really put them in a bad place. I'll say that I loved watching Anthony Edwards in his moments of like very high spark that he had with those dunks, especially. It's very fun to watch, but I'm gonna pass. I really don't think that really makes much of a difference. The Timberwolves are a dumpster fire of a team, and I just no. I'm not gonna no. Sam.
I think we all know about my take on the Timberwolves over the past couple of years now. I think it's just a very carefree team. I don't think they actually care about winning. I think that's what the culture is. Hopefully, with the new coach that can actually shake up a little bit and actually bring in guys that actually want to win. They have like no real veteran presence, so I think that's a big concern. Imagine having KG like being a part of that team, even just from a front office or coaching. Like I think that can actually shake up, and I think that's something that Cat needs. I think he's not having that drive, not questioning his character, just questioning his work ethic in terms of the game, because I think we've seen him bring up a lot of empty numbers and they don't result in W's. And it's not just on him, but we're seeing that a lot of years, almost more than 5 years now, being wasted on Cat in this uniform. Maybe he'll have a brighter future somewhere else. But I think a concern is when you have Anthony Edwards say that he could throw a 100-mile pitch. I have a little concern there about his loyalty to this team or not. I think we might see him in a Minnesota Twins uniform by the end of the season. Who knows at this point? But I don't think it really mattered, like you said, Matt. I think the D'Lo factor would have came into play to see as we never really got to see Cat or D'Lo come together. So that being said, I'm going to sell on this. I think that everyone have mattered regardless.
John, then Kevin, how are we feeling about this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna sell. I think that this is just a bad team, and yeah, I think they would definitely be better if everyone was healthy. I don't think Anthony Edwards was really this guy until later in the year anyway. I think it took him a while to like be more assertive like he is now, and he's still like not that efficient. I don't hate on D'Lo like you do, Matt. You're a hater and a crook, and no, I don't know. He's not that good, but I don't think that this team is very good. I don't think they would even make the play-in game. I think they would. I think they would still be out of the play-in game, so I'm going to sell.
Kevin,
I am going to very lightly buy on this. The reason being, I think everyone's points are very valid. Like the motivation on the team, is it there? Is Anthony Edwards efficient? No. But I think the whole dynamic of this team would have shifted if from the start Anthony Edwards was playing and everyone was healthy. I think it would be just a completely different team than we're seeing in what I think is the best way. Would they be a competitive playoff team? No, probably not. But I think they could reasonably get to a 10 or a 9 seed or something like that. If they had that time to build that chemistry amongst Edwards, Cat, and D'Lo, I think they would have gotten their stride relatively early, and then been able to actually compete a little bit more than they are now. Would they be good? No, but I think they'd be much better than they are now.
Here's where I think I land ultimately is like, would this team, if everyone was healthy, be better than the Pelicans this year? And I honestly don't think they would be. And not that the Pelicans are really good, they're not, but like I think that I don't think they would be any better than the Pelicans, and the Pelicans are like, I think, right around that seeding. So they're just not very good.
Yeah.
Cat's great. Everyone else is like a big
CP3 will once again not reach the finals. That's depressing. Sam, I'm gonna go with you first.
It's weird. I'm the one who wrote this, but I think I'm actually going to sell. I think there's actually a solid chance because of how unpredictable this Suns team can be. I know we haven't seen them in a long time in the playoffs, but I think the one thing we know is that CP3 has a little bit of LeBron vibes that we just can't really doubt what he can do. It really just came down to his injuries. I mean, his longevity in terms of staying in the game in important moments. I mean, realistically, if you look at this, if you said the playoffs happen right now, they play the Portland Trailblazers. Do we think that they could beat Portland? I mean,
Yeah.
I think they could. I think they could. Next, Clippers or Mavericks. I think they have a fair shot at it. I mean, I don't see any doubts there. And if Utah Jazz make it, like, what's the reason I say they can't make it? Like, I think based off how it's laid out right now, and if the Lakers are not who we think they are, then what says that the Suns can't make the finals? So I'm going to sell on this.
That's very interesting, Sam. Kevin, how do you feel about the Suns over the Lakers? About his point?
Not having. CP3 is gonna yet again get blue balled and not get into the finals. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen. Not in that Western Conference. The Suns are gonna get that. No way. Get out of here.
Let me ask you a different question. What if Ricky Rubio was on the team instead of CP3?
Oh my God! Let it go. Let it go.
I will say we can keep making that joke until the end of the season, and I think we will continue to.
I think it will keep happening, Kevin. John, are you buying or selling?
I will be selling. I still think the Lakers will reach the finals if LeBron and AD are healthy, and if it's not the Lakers, I don't think it'll be the Suns either. So. Sorry, CP3. You're great. You know I love you. I'm all about this Suns team, but I just don't see it. No.
So you'll be buying this.
So a quick sub point. Do we think CP3 is the best point guard in NBA history?
No.
Okay.
But he deserves to be in the conversation. It's just, it's hard to put him there because he's just never really wanted the playoffs. Unfortunately, he's always struggled. But I will say his longevity is kind of a miracle for someone his size, and so that's also something kind of remarkable. And obviously, he's someone who, just purely his play on the court puts him in that conversation because he is someone who probably knows the game as well as any point guard ever. Can make any pass. He's able to take over games if he needs to. I love CP3. I just don't think this is gonna be the year. I don't know if the year ever comes.
Yeah, I think, Sam, to your point, I think CP3, if he isn't the best point, and I would probably say maybe not point guard. I would probably say true point guard. As far as what a point guard's position is supposed to be, because you have your Steph Curry's, who is more of a shooting guard than point guard, but he still plays point guard. I do think CP3 is at least top 3 all time, true point guards in the league. So I would be on that page too. But unfortunately, I will buy the take. If it happens, that'd be cool as hell. But with the Suns teams, I'm not very high on them right now, unfortunately. I'm high on the Suns, but as far as the teams that they have to fight against, it's not going to be great. The 76ers need the first seed to be a contender for the finals. Let me ask, who's the one that wrote this? Can you explain this one to me? I'll go with you first then, but I want to hear what your thoughts are on it.
I'm going to buy on this. I think that the seeding will matter in the East just because the 2-3 will be it's going to be a real fight. I hope it's a real fight as a fan, but I think it actually will be a duel, no matter if it even is Brooklyn, Milwaukee, or Philly, Milwaukee, or Philly Brooklyn. Who even knows? Maybe the Bucks get there. I think that rest will come in handy because like we mentioned before, 4 through the rest, it really doesn't matter. I think that they might put up a quote unquote fight, but at most they'll win 2 games. It will not go to 7 games with any of these teams. If it does, it'll be it'll just be great to watch. But realistically, these teams are way too good to even throw away 2 games against some of these teams. So I think that rest will be the biggest factor for both Philly and Brooklyn at the end of the day. So if I'm Philly, you know that the centerpiece of scoring is going to go through Joel Embiid. The defensive presence will come from both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And for me, they both have had issues throughout the season. For the past season, we saw it with Joel Embiid as well. Hopefully he's turned a new leaf at this point. But for me, Brooklyn, with just 2 of their stars, I think can be a lot more dangerous than Philly with missing one of their stars. So for me, I think Philly will need the 1 seed to get that rest.
What does that rest look like exactly? Is that just like a week off? Like what is the playoffs? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I could look at 7 to 10 days, depending on if they can sweep the Knicks in some cases or go 5 games. I mean, we're just assuming the 2-3 seeds go to 7, and then there's wear and tear at that point. So for me, I just think that top 3 teams need some sort of rest because if you're a 2-3, it's going to be very detrimental.
Okay, that does make a lot more sense because as we've seen in the past, Embiid gets when he runs out of fuel, it happens pretty quickly. John?
Yeah, I'll actually I'll buy this too because the 1 seed in the East, like Sam was saying, they just have an easier road because they're just going to play the 8 seed and then they'll play whoever wins the Knicks versus like Hawks series, like the 4-5 series. And that's one that they should absolutely win too, whoever's the 1st seed. So, because again, like as we've been saying this whole time, there's a clear disparity between those top 3 teams in the East and everyone else in the East. So, yeah, for Philly, they could definitely use an easy path to get to the conference finals. And I think that whoever the 1 seed is will be the one will be in the conference finals, just because they have such an easy path. That 2-3, like, it's going to be a tough series. Like, whether, like Sam said, there's like no matchup there that'll be like an easy one, really. And I would trust Brooklyn to beat Milwaukee, frankly, like more than I would trust Philly to beat Milwaukee. So I would say, like, actually, yeah, maybe the Sixers actually might really want to try to get that 1 seed because it would be matchup wise just kind of huge for them. So I think I will buy this.
Interesting. Okay, Kevin?
I agree. I'm buying this. I think especially right now as it's laid out, Sixers play the Heat round 1. Even round 1 against the Heat, that's tough. That's a tough matchup. Like we said before, Jimmy Butler always pulls it out in the playoffs. And I'm sure he has a vendetta against the Sixers to go even harder. So that's a lot of work for them round 1. Round 2 is going to be tough. They're just going to have a really tough time if they're not the 1 seed, I think.
All right. I would probably have to agree with you guys on that one. Didn't really think about that, not going to lie. That's a very interesting point. I
don't think it's as much of an issue in the West, frankly, because I don't think there is an easy way to get to the conference finals at this point with the Western Conference teams. But, like, in the East, that 1 seed path is definitely easier than, like, 2-3.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm gonna run through some quick, fun ones really quickly, and then we're gonna and then I'll do another one that we can really discuss to end the show. Are we buying Luka's new shoes, boys? His new player edition.
Oh.
Sam, why don't you go first?
Like I said, we had our little chat. I'm not mad about it. I know you guys are a little mad about it for a Luka's shoe. I'm confused on the concept. I agree there. I have no idea what their direction was. I think the color scheme isn't horrible besides that like weird eggplant bubble they got on the sides. I don't know if it's some like youngster emoji thing that they're going on. I don't know what's going on now, but only thing I like is that galaxy print. I think that looks kind of cool. Just have no idea what it ties into a Luka shoe overall. So I'll buy purely because it's a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. That's a pretty high. That's a pretty high rating. John, why don't you go first?
those Sheen from Jimmy Neutron ass shoes. Like, I'm sorry. I love Luka, obviously. I say it every episode, but man, those shoes, I can't do it. I really don't like it. That green is so ugly. With the Galaxy print, it just none of it. I agree. I think you put it actually very well in that, like, the concept of the shoe is very unclear. I don't know why I don't understand it. I don't like it. I would never buy them. I'm sorry, Luka. Like, hey, you'll get another shoe. You'll get to figure this out. Steph's first shoe was trash. It takes time. So this was an L. Sorry, Luka.
Yeah, Luka's got to take the L.
Before we jump to Kevin real quick, this is just the inspiration behind the shoe. So they said that we went with like the energetic mix of white, light neon, purple, and vivid pink to showcase the electrifying nature of Luka Doncic. I don't know what's going on there, but I just want, before Kevin went, Kevin, now you have perspective. Maybe that changes your mind. Maybe that actually dropped me down a point or two. So I'm gonna go 5 out of 10 because I don't get it still.
Kevin?
I got one word: whack. Absolutely whack shoe, whack idea, whack execution. Like, the Galaxy tongue is cool, and that's it. That's all that's cool about the shoe. The rest of it is, honestly, it's just ugly. It's just ugly and weird and strange. Like John said, Luka, this one's an L. Sorry. That's it.
I mean, the man is all finesse. Like, we need a shoe that reflects like a guy who's like all finesse in his game, like smooth operator out there. Like, that's what we need in a Luka shoe, something that reflects that instead of like this fucking goopy green like color that they have. It's just
a blob of purple on the side.
Yeah,
that's rough, man. I think for me it was so funny when you guys sent the picture of the Lukas and you guys were trashing it. I hadn't like expanded the photo. So I just saw like that small little image and I'm like, oh no, this looks pretty good. Opened up the photo. I was like, no. No, it's not. Next one, we're going to go with LaMelo. I think this is going to be such an easy one. I think LaMelo wins Rookie of the Year. I'm going to buy that one. Sam?
Yeah, I wrote it real quick. Just because now he's coming back, everyone was like Anthony Edwards, and I was like, the kid had like 5 great games in a row, so it's like you get to beef up his stack. But I think there was a clear difference at that point. We didn't see James Wiseman anymore, sadly, for the season, and the only person that got close, I think, in my opinion, was like Tyrese Halliburton, but with the Kings, and they're not really performing as to what we're doing. And LaMelo Ball just went past everyone's expectation, and I think you have to give it him. So I'm going to buy on it.
Yeah, I don't know about you, John. I feel like the reason why LaMelo is going to get this because it's very obvious that Patrick Williams should have gotten it. But they had to give LaMelo the chance, right? You got to give the other people the chance.
Exactly. Yes, they said, we need to give the rest of the league time to catch up to such a player as Pat Williams. It's not really fair to grade him on the same scale as rookies. So yes, I agree. Consolation, LaMelo. No, so I'm gonna buy because I kind of still think LaMelo would have gotten it anyway, just because he was so good, and they kind of did this with Embiid when Embiid's rookie year when he just like was clearly the best rookie, but they didn't give it to him because he didn't play a lot of games. I'll buy it. Though it is an interesting situation where like maybe he comes back from this wrist injury and he just like maybe he's like kind of out of shape right now because he hasn't been playing for a while, and like maybe his shot's a little like not really falling because his wrist is still hurting a little bit. Like, so there is a chance that like, though I think a slim one, a chance that this could hurt his stock on this award race a little bit, but I find that to be like a slim chance because with everything we saw, like if his shot's not falling as much as it was before, like if he's still giving us everything else, like he's, it's still pretty clear.
Yeah. Kevin?
Yep, I agree with everything that's been said. Buying on this, I think the disparity between like where LaMelo is and where Anthony Edwards is, though Anthony Edwards has been hot the past couple of weeks, I think it's just still a big gap between the two. So I think LaMelo should win this no problem. Although I like seeing Anthony Edwards where he is now, finally. I think it took him a while to get there, but I think he's really finally settling into the player he wants to be, and I love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Next one, the Thunder are purposely tanking. 13 game loss streak right now. That's pretty bad. Not gonna lie. That's pretty rough. Sam, what are we feeling about this?
It's just funny that even with that losing streak, they still like have a playoff chance somehow. But I think someone sent in the report that like Lou Dort was like being sat out purposefully. Like that, the report was just like going into it like, there's no way he's actually injured. Like, doesn't scratch. Yeah, I think especially with Shai Gilgeous out, and I think that we all know with the amount of picks they have, they're just stashing and cashing in for the future, and especially with this draft coming up. Like they sat Al Horford down to say, "Don't come back. I know you want to go chill in Florida. Have a few margs over there. Have a good time." But they started dumping everyone. Even some of the young talent. Hamidou Diallo, I thought was actually like a fun piece for them, but they got rid of him to cash in some more. So. I think we're definitely buying. This is just another Sam Presti move to try to boost up his profile moving forward.
John?
Yeah, I'll buy. Absolutely, obviously tanking, starting from that Al Horford saying, like, don't come back and everything after that. Clearly, they're tanking. I don't blame them. Obviously, like, the draft is the centerpiece of their strategy to build this team moving forward. So good on them. Hopefully they'll let Lou Dort play more consistently because I just nabbed him for the fantasy home stretch. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But the Thunder, very bad right now. Great look for SGA, though, that they are still, like, not the worst team in the league because they were just doing so okay while he was playing because he's just like a really good player. So,
Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying this. They have a stupid number of picks in the future, 34 future picks now, which is dumb. Like that's 2K shit that Sam and I would do like all the time and just like get as many picks as we can, hoard them, and then 3 years in the future, stupid, unfairly good team. And I think that's what the Thunder are doing. And they're tanking this year so they can get another good pick next year. And then I really think in 3 or 4 years, this Thunder team is going to be a top seed with how many picks they have and trade assets they have to play around with. Like if they aren't, then I think they're really making some dumb decisions because they have so much going for them right now. So yeah, if I was them, I'd probably tank too.
I want to propose a question to you guys, and then we can get on to the last one. We just said how many picks they have and all the trade assets and whatnot. Do you think the Thunder could somehow completely fuck this up?
I think it'd take a lot of. They have a lot of chances to not fuck it up, so they'd have to consecutively make a bunch of bad decisions, which is possible, but very unlikely, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sam?
I think it really just depends on the maturity of the player. Like, I mean, when they got generational talent, right? When they got Kevin Durant, like you don't do that. Like that just fell in their lap. Like that Portland took Greg Oden over Kevin Durant at that point. And to be fair, I think Greg Oden was a solid pick. Like it wasn't like a bad pick. It just turned out didn't have a career at the end of the day. And I think Sam Presti is a genius. I think the way he scouted out players and didn't find players that can coincide with a Kevin Durant. I think that's the thing. Is like who's going to be their Kevin Durant, and it could be in this draft. Maybe it is. Maybe they find a forward or at least a tall guard that can fill in that role. I just part of me feels like they're going to do the whole shakeup again, where they're not going to pay their third man, and they're going to let him go free to like the Houston Rockets once again. And then the Houston Rockets are going to be good. It's going to be another cycle, just because I think Sam Presti just gets really high off of this like draft and trade frenzy. And I think that's going to happen one more time. So,
see, that's what I'm worried about too, John.
Yeah, I would be shocked if they like completely blow it. With the draft, it's always a crapshoot. At the end of the day, like there's some people that are pretty surefire, but If you get enough chances, you're going to get someone good. And at the very worst case, like, they're not going to use all these picks. They're going to try to get like their guy as soon as they can. And then they're going to start trading picks for other guys to like fill out this team. Like, I can't imagine they're going to make 34 draft picks like over that run. It's just, it's impractical. Like, so, I'd be shocked if they mess this up. Sam Presti is really good at the draft. So he's, I think they'll be fine.
Sounds good. Last question that I want to propose for the buy or sell. The Nets won't have their big three all together for consecutive games till round 2. Sam, what you got?
That's really weird. I'm not even sure how many games they played together. I want to say at most like 3. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
They've played a total of 4 games together.
4 games together.
I didn't know that.
My roommate told me about that, and it blew my mind.
I mean, there's definitely like some very slight concern because the duos are always working. And I think the weird thing is that we're always seeing Kyrie with someone. We're not really seeing a Durant, James Harden yet. So I'd be curious to see how that works. And I think it will work. I think that will work for sure. So I'll buy on this. I think that I won't be surprised if they rest Kevin Durant all of a sudden just for the first round, just because of how quote unquote easy it'll be for them, to be honest, and then see if they can get the third person to catch their groove. So, because I think we all know that the only thing we doubt about Kevin Durant is just the Achilles. Like that's it. Like the game itself is there. It's there. It's just waiting for the healthy body to recover. Like you mentioned, John, about James Harden's hamstring situation. Still kind of shocking that there was a setback. And that's going to be a big concern, I think, for the Nets if they can't get him back in the second round, maybe even towards the finals. So I'll buy on this, though.
Sounds good. John?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a kind of a crapshoot one where it's just like, we'll just see. But, like, I think it's I'll buy just, like, for the shits of it. But, like, really, it's just the whole point of this is that we just haven't seen it. And I know when we do, it's going to be awesome. I am not like at all worried about the fit for these guys. I know it'll be fine. It's just like one of those things where like we haven't seen it because they keep getting hurt and like missing games and all this shit. So I wouldn't be like super shocked, frankly, if like someone tweaked something and needed to miss a couple games in like the first round when they're playing like, fucking the Hornets or some shit. Like, so I'll buy this just because honestly, we have yet to see anything indicating otherwise.
Honestly. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm buying. I think why if it's not broke, like why do something about it? Like if 2 people are working, Kevin Durant and Kyrie or whatever are working, which they are very well. They're both putting up 30-point games. Kyrie's dishing out like 11 or 12 assist games almost every time. Like there's no point to try and like force it round 1 if you don't need to. And I still think even with 2 of them round 1, they're going to go 4 games and it's going to be a cakewalk for them. So yeah, I definitely see this happening, and I really, really want to see all 3 of them in the playoffs come out on the starting lineup one game though, and I think that's going to be an amazing moment for basketball this year.
I'm hoping that when that happens, it ends up working out very well. I mean, they're all very obviously top tier players. And so you would think that kind of, that would just like work well together, that they would just be in sync. But my issue is that they've only played together for 4 times. And like, while these guys are incredibly talented basketball players, I would like to see them play a little bit. I would like to see that lineup a little bit more coming into the playoffs. I know the necessity for it is very, very low. You don't need to do that, and it makes sense why you wouldn't do that. But I would want to see them playing together a lot more often if you can. I know injuries and other weird shit that Kyrie has been doing has obviously put a thorn in that. But to me personally, it's just like, I'd get a little bit nervous. Like I want to see the stars play together for a bit longer, even though they're incredible. I would like to see that moving forward. All right, guys, you think we have time for one more, or are we good?
What is it?
The last possible question would be, are we sleeping on Ja Morant? Kevin, that was a hell of a response.
Hey, I'm not sleeping on Ja Morant. I've been hyping up Ja Morant. I don't know what y'all are talking about, but are other people sleeping on Ja Morant? Absolutely. Just saying.
John, you look quite perplexed.
Ja Morant is good, and he's kind of not been that much better this year than he was last year. I think that I'm not worried about Ja Morant moving forward. I think he'll be great. I just think that, like, this year there are just other guys doing some crazy shit that's a lot more exciting, frankly. So Ja will be great, but this year it's not about Ja Morant.
That's fair, Sam.
Yeah, and this target was towards the brothers. Obviously, we got some Zion lovers here, so it's just we got to keep some of the beef going, right? I think I do agree. I think Ja's game is doing this weird evolution, and I think he doesn't have the right support piece with Jaren Jackson Jr. obviously not being there. I think maybe it's more of are we sleeping on the Grizzlies rather than Ja Morant at this point, because I think this team is not contenders, but I think they're pretty good in such a very tight race. Western Conference. We say Spurs, we'll say Warriors, we'll say every team around them, but we'll never mention the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to put some respect on the Grizzlies. I was never sleeping. I don't sleep when it comes to Ja Morant because I have this automatic fear that in my dreams that he'll just poster me and then I just won't come back. So for that reason, I don't sleep on Ja Morant.
I like that. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. That was a Deep 3 pod. You can find us on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as on Instagram with our fire-ass memes. You gotta like it. You really do. You really do. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Have a good night. Peace.
Comment below which tattoo Kevin should get next.